The Godino twins. Born in 1908, Lucio and Simplicio Godino are twins joined at the pelvis by cartilage and skin. They were natives of the Samar province but came to New York as part of the infamous Coney Island circus freak show. Filipino midgets, 1914. Born to average-sized Filipino parents, Juan, age, 32 years old, height, 24 inches, and Martina de la Cruz, age, 36 years old, height, 32 inches, were the smallest living adults alive in the world at the time of the exposition. They complemented their famous title with a dance routine and mastery of no less than 5 different languages: Tagalog, Visayan, English, Kapampangan, and Spanish. Young Filipino girl at Coney Island, New York, 1900s. Philippines' involvement in Coney Island freak shows began in 1905 when Samuel W. Gumpertz, a successful Missouri showman, made side trips to the country. During his visits, he scoured villages and remote places to find the most unusual, outlandish and grotesque of human beings. He eventually found 212 gentleman tucks alongside 11-year-old Godino brothers, famous Filipino Siamese twin of the pre-war era. Ifagaos in wedding dress, 1900. Ifagaos have remained true to their culture despite strong Western influences. In fact, marriage customs, tanag, have remained almost unchanged since the early 1900s. Bountiful feasts, animal sacrifices, religious chants, and cultural dances are still evident in Ifugao wedding ceremonies, made even more colorful by the panoramic view of Banaway rice terraces in the backdrop. Ilongot warrior, 1900. Ilongots are indigenous people with unique traditions shaped by long years of isolation. One can easily identify a male Ilongot just by looking for 3 features: belt, weapon, and headdress. Of the 3, the headgear gets the most attention as it's usually made from a severed beak of a hornbill, kawa, with notches signifying the maturity or social status of the male Ilongot. The sword, meanwhile, was made with outstanding craftsmanship and protected by a wooden scabbard. The Cholera Squad, 1900. The year was 1902 and a Hong Kong vessel just arrived in Manila port. A widespread cholera epidemic started soon after, prompting the government to mobilize military surgeons and the so-called Cholera Squad. Filipino historian Reynaldo Aledo calls this chaotic period as the germ warfare or an extension of Philippine-American War. Príncipe de Paz, 1906. Filipinos didn't initially use the European charcoal flat irons to press their baro and sayas. Instead, they went more traditional with crude equipment called Príncipe de Paz, also known in other provinces as Príncipe de Mano, Ligis, Biglajasan, or Pagilong. In stark contrast with today's sleek irons, Príncipe de Paz requires sheer force and sometimes, like in the photo above, combined energy of more than 2 people. Death by garrote, 1901. Described by historian Teodoro Agoncillo as death by strangulation using an iron collar, garrote veal became the prominent form of capital punishment when death by hanging was abolished in 1832. The collar could be made from handheld chain, rope, fishing line or scarf, although brass/iron collars were more common in the Philippines. Bilibid Prison Music Band, 1911. Isolated from the mainstream society, the prisoners in Bilibid were forced to put their creative prowess into good use. The Bilibid Prison Music Band of 1911, for example, had their skills honed so they could masterfully offer their talents during special occasions. Clad in classic striped uniforms, these convicts remind us of the modern-day Cebu dancing inmates whose Michael Jackson dance moves made them an instant YouTube sensation a couple of years ago. Magellan's Monument, 1898. With an iconic presence comparable to New York's Statue of Liberty, Magellan's Monument became the foremost centerpiece of Paseo de Magallanes. It was subsequently moved to the front of Aduana Building during American occupation and remained a tourist attraction until its untimely destruction in World War II. Magellan's Monument impressed tourists and passers-by with its marble pedestal and a column embellished with bronze anchors, laurel leaves, dolphins, and merlions. It also featured a spherical globe bearing the name Magallanes to commemorate the country's earliest conqueror.